Used it today.
Did you? Nice.
Got a volunteer for one, or a barbecue for one of our volunteers.
Yeah, give it to the sheriff.
Still. That's it.
Sheriff,
Okay, ready to go.
I'll get Barrios.
Oh, I know Barnes, yeah.
Okay.
I just had lunch with
Are we ready?
Gary today. Remember him?
Ready to call,
Gary Pettis?
call to order?
He just retired last year.
We're going to call to order the meeting. City of Ojai Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for February 5th. And we'll stand and take the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve, would you lead us?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, do we just got started. Okay, so shall we do roll call?
Commissioner Becker? Here. Commissioner Roddick?
Here.
Commissioner Dutter?
Here.
Commissioner Ittner?
Present.
Vice Chair Rylander?
Here.
Commissioner Basor?
Here.
And Commissioner Ford?
Here.
All members of the commission are present.
And now next we have the oath of office for, go ahead.
Yes, so if I could ask Commissioner Dutter to please join me at the lectern, and I will give you the oath of office. So, Adam, if you could please raise your right hand and go ahead and repeat after me. I, your name,
I, Adam Dutter,
do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Perfect. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Issue them an M16 and see.
There you go. I think that's the same one that the president.
That's correct. Yep.
President of the United States.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little variation
We'll give
there.
up every Thursday evening. Just kidding.
That should be
So we're welcoming Commissioner Adam Dutter to the Parks and Recreation Commission tonight, so
Thank you.
welcome.
Good to be here.
Great. Next, we'll have public comments. Do you have any public comments this evening? I don't have any speaker cards. Nope. Okay, so we're moving on. Do you have anything, Steve?
Well, I just wanted to introduce the selection of the commission chair, vice chair, and secretary. This is the time of the year when we do the annual election. So at this point, as the secretary, so to speak, the process that we follow is we'll open the floor and invite any nominees for the chair. And then once the sufficient number of nominees have been made, or you feel that you're done with that, then one of the commissioners can make a motion to close the nominating period and then second that. And then you can proceed to take a vote. And if there are multiple nominees, usually you just proceed in the order of the nominations until you get a majority vote. So if that makes sense, at this point, I will open the floor for nominations for chair for the Park and Recreation Commission.
I nominate Sunday Rylander.
I second.
Are there any other nominees for chair? Would a member of the commission like to make a motion to close the nomination for the chair?
I'd like to make a motion that we close the nomination for chair and appoint Sunday Ryder as our new chair.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a dual motion, basically to close the nomination and also to elect Sunday Rylander as chair. Any discussion or comment on that? If not, I'll ask for a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, you are the new chair. So Chair Rylander, I will now turn this over to you to do the same process for the
Great, I have to
nomination
remember
for
all that?
vice chair.
You do all that so well. Sage always helps me. So here I go.
There you go.
Like to take nominations for vice chair for the Parks and Recreation Commission. Do we have any nominations? Can I nominate?
You certainly can. You might want to wait and
I
see if
know,
anybody
okay.
else would like to, but you certainly may.
I nominate Sage Intner.
Second.
I third that.
Yes, you may.
I'll also make a motion that we close.
Yes, now our discussion.
I second it.
So if you want, you can now take the vote on the motion to close the nomination. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. And then you can proceed with then if somebody would like to make a motion to elect Sage Intner as the vice chair, you may do that at this
I'd like
point.
to make a motion to elect Sage Intner as vice chair.
I'll second.
You're actually in charge here, so.
Oh, sorry. Okay, can someone else make a motion?
I think it's been
For that.
motioned. and
That's fine.
seconded.
Yeah, you-
Okay,
Yeah.
so
You're
yes,
fine.
call for the vote.
You just need to
Okay,
call for the
Call
vote.
for the vote.
All those in favor?
All those in
Aye.
Okay. Are you in favor?
I am.
Oh, good, thank you. Now secretary.
So that has passed.
Okay.
So the secretary is, I've been serving as the secretary for the past year. I'm happy to continue to do that. You can certainly nominate another member of the commission to do that. It won't bother
You
me.
do such
so.
a good job, incredible job.
So you open up the nominations?
Yes, yes. We'd like to nominate, sorry. I'm messing this one up. I'm
You're doing
nervous.
fine.
It's new for us.
Totally new. I'd like to open this up for nominations for secretary.
I'll make a motion that our Assistant City Manager, Steve McCurry, remain as secretary.
You're nominating him?
I'm nominating him.
Excellent.
Do you have a second?
Second.
I'll make a motion to
Close
close
nominations?
nominations.
Was that a motion? Or
Yes.
were you asking for?
You need a
No,
motion.
we
You
need a
to
mo-
make the motion.
Oh, I move that we close the nomination.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Let me call for it.
So now take the
So
vote
call-
on that,
call for a
correct?
vote. Go ahead, start over there.
Aye.
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 Now, if somebody wants to actually entertain the motion
Close.
to elect the,
I motion that we
thank you.
take a vote to elect Steve McClary as our secretary.
Second.
We obviously need you.
Okay. Now call for a vote.
Okay, call for a vote.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We've now seen our whole.
All right, we're all
Okay.
set then,
Let's not do that again real soon. For a year.
once a year.
Once here.
That was a new one. Okay, thank you very much. So, now we have time for our police department report.
Hello.
Thanks
Most of
for
you know my
joining
name.
us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Most of you know me. My name is Rick Harwood for Mr. Dutter. I'm the I shouldn't say that, assistant chief of police. I'm the administrative sergeant. I fill in for the captain when he's unavailable, the chief of police. Not a whole lot's been going on since the last time I was here regarding stuff that's going on in the parks. I looked at all the calls for service just in the last 2 months through December, January, and just a little bit into February. Everything's pretty consistent. Not a lot of activity at Clough Vista. We've had 5 calls there in that time period, which isn't much. Libby continues to be our biggest volume of calls. We've had 96 calls there. And I guess I should preface this that the way our computer system tracks it, whether we get called by the public or one of our deputies sees something and goes on foot patrol or goes into the park just to have a presence, it counts as one time being there. Zarzodi was second. That's one of the other popular places that the deputies work in the city try and focus their efforts. They've been in there 56 times in the last 2 months. No significant arrests. Skate park 41, but again, not all of those are call related. Some of it's self-generated. I don't know why it's doing that. Is that annoying you?
Oh, no.
Can you guys hear it? No? Maybe it's just me. Other than that, I think I talked last time a little bit. We've had some personnel change. We have 4 new deputies at the station that transferred in. They're all going through their training cycle. They're in their second of 4 phases. So if you see new faces around, we did lose our city detective. Senior Deputy Harris got promoted to sergeant, so he went back to the jail. And our new city detective is Senior Deputy William Hollowell. You may remember him. He's worked up here as a patrol officer off and on. I'm very familiar with the Ojai Valley, so he's an excellent selection for us to get him back. And he had just transferred out of here, 8-9 months ago. He'd been here for several years, working the city and the county. So we're fortunate to bring him right back. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot. You guys have any questions for me? No? All right. Congratulations on your nominations.
Thank you. Thanks for coming tonight.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
And now we're on to number 7, Public Works update.
Don't have anything to report this time from staff, so make sure I'm not missing anything, Mr. Katsas.
Nothing that I can think of. I mean, we're gonna talk about the playground, Libby Park playground.
Right, we can talk a little bit about that later on,
Really?
so.
That's
Yep.
really the hot topic, but otherwise.
All right, so then
But if
we'll-
there's any questions, be happy to take them back to Public Works, if you have any at this time. Okay.
And now we'll move to number 8, approval of minutes. Does everyone have a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting, January 8th? Good. Do we have someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes for the January 8th meeting.
Do we have a second? Okay. Thank you. And
Call for a vote.
call for a vote.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So nervous tonight. Sorry.
And,
We've been doing it, it just wasn't official.
and then for Commissioner Dutter, just to make you aware, since you weren't a commissioner at the prior meeting, if ever you're not at a meeting, then you can just abstain on the vote on the minutes. So, not telling you how to vote on the last motion.
It's all right, I was here, but thank you.
That's right.
Oh, he was here, but not as a commissioner.
Yes.
Correct, right.
Thank you.
So, okay.
And, okay. So we will move on to the discussion items tonight. And our first one is future capital improvement plans for recreation facilities recommendation. Discuss and provide a recommendation to staff and the city council on priorities for park and recreation facilities capital improvements. And invite us to-
Yes, thank you. So I'm seeing this at least maybe being the second in 3 phases on the discussion on this, although certainly the commission can take it any way that it wants to go. We had Mr. Grant, the Public Works Director, at our January meeting to go over the capital improvement plan as it stands right now and to refamiliarize you folks with kind of how that is working and how we have that laid out and how much money we see going into that in the next few coming years. And so tonight, I thought it would be good to have the discussion, and I think this is really the chance for the commission to have its opportunity to brainstorm and talk about and discuss, projects that it would like to see coming down the road in terms of capital improvements for parks and recreation facilities. We've generated a list of things in a couple different times here. In fact, I've got an old wish list that I'll pass out here. And we're certainly not restricted just to talk about those same items. So what I'm getting at, if there are new projects or new ideas out there, this would be a good time to get that out and talk about it. What I'm thinking, if the commission agrees with this logic, is I'm thinking tonight would be good, again, to really kind of do some of that brainstorming kind of general discussion about projects, what we'd like to see, and allow you to have some discussion back and forth on that. And then hopefully from that discussion tonight, we could come back then at our March meeting with a refined list based on the input tonight. If there are things that need, research, or we need to kind of put an estimated price tag to, that'll give us a chance to do that. And then I'm thinking once, and then at whatever point the commission is satisfied with that list, then I would ask if you could then give it some type of priority in terms of, and a couple ways you can do that. I guess you could kind of say, here's our A group, B group, C group, something like that. And then another way, of course, we're looking at this also as it rolls out over time. So, and that may also have a bearing on your priority, but not necessarily. There's what I'm trying to say is you may have high priority projects that you might see are more 5 or 6 years down the road, but they're high priority. You might see some lower priority projects that you'd like to get done right away. So that's what I'm thinking in terms of the discussion tonight and what I would bring back to the commission in March. And again, what we're doing here is really diving in to the budget process early enough so that we have some time to really have some good discussions and, like I said, some brainstorming on projects and whatnot, with the idea that we would ultimately take a recommendation from the commission to the city council, sometime May, around there. So with that, what I included in your packet should look familiar to you. It was the capital improvement plan going out through fiscal year 18-19 that we had reviewed at the January meeting. And then, and I'm sorry I didn't think to include this in the packet before. It was your new chair suggested that we dig up the list that we had generated a few years back, where we had a wish list of projects. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that out to you now. And some of this will look pretty familiar to you. So on this list, just to remind everybody what we've got here, and maybe also to kind of help the public, we've got a couple projects right off the top that we had already really taken care of, which was the Sarsati staircases. That work's been done, and a lot of the dry watt window and stucco repair and repainting has been done around the Boyd Center. We were able to take care of that more than about a year ago. So again, this is just being brought back before you as just to help you remember some of the things that we had talked about. But this is simply a wish list. There's nothing approved or prioritized in terms of this. But I thought it would help the conversation in terms of the discussion here. And again, like I said, help you remember some of the things that we had talked about that we maybe had forgotten.
I think that staff had some input on this as well, didn't they? As a wish list, like things for.
Yeah, this was ultimately generated by the previous director with some input. I'm not sure exactly how that all came together. And I think it was probably discussed in front of this body a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where you want to start, if there are things on this list, or things that are not on this list
So
that you'd like to see.
everything you've just gone over, you don't expect to get that all done tonight. Tonight, you're sparking the conversation, we're getting started.
That's
And
what
then
I'm
you're gonna
thinking.
Bring it back to us.
Right,
Okay.
right. And I'm really just proposing that as
Okay.
as what seems to me a logical path to go, but I'm totally open. I mean, this is the commission's
Wanna run down-
process.
Do we want to run down the list as a group, or do we just want to start throwing out what we're interested in and where we want to put it, or?
What kind of timeline are we, you talk about taking it to the council?
Well,
Or it's back to the commission, Nick, what kind of timeline are we looking at here, first of all?
I think if we could get something wrapped up by May, ideally, would be good. If we start running into June, there's a lot of things that are starting to get in place at that point with the budget. So it would seem to me, June might be a little too late. We might be coming to the game a little bit late at that point, so if we
So
can.
May.
So if
Well,
we're-
and the reason I asked is the master plan for Zarzoti, the way I've read it is, it's to reach out to the public.
Sure,
And, I mean, that would give us a better list to start with than even our own brainstorming, I think.
No, I agree.
We really want
We
to
were
react
excited
to
about
what,
that.
Yeah, we're kind of at a spot where we're waiting for this big piece and we can do work, but, yeah,
well, if we're not actually going to be doing work for, and a lot of it boils down to budget too. I mean, how much is going to be left over when we start getting into the if we're gonna do the park,
Right.
Right.
playground, excuse me, playground.
Yeah, we
Right.
talked
Are
about,
we gonna, that's
Good
gonna eat
point.
up most of our, is that a capital improvement
Project?
funded project? Well, it's a combination of.
I'm sorry, which,
fund, you mean?
which
The
actual,
playground,
which
the
project? The
Playground.
Sarzati playground or the Libby
No, the
playground?
Libby playground.
The Libby playground, right. It is already in the capital improvement plan, and it is spread over this fiscal year and next fiscal year.
and I think the other thing to think about is we had discussed, I asked this question, is the RFP for Sarasota.
Right.
And that has gone out, and so we want to find out, what the findings are and get a time frame for that as well before we say, okay, let's go put a basketball court in over at Sarasota, and then they come back with maybe it should be over here. So we're trying to figure out when the best time to say okay to these things, because they're sort of,
I think one of the things that I'm hearing that we could do tonight is look at this list. Is there anything that's not on there that we're interested in?
Right.
Because this is the time to give that to Steve, and he could research how much it would cost.
Yeah.
Scooter park, okay, what do we think that would cost? What's the scope of work on that? I don't know that we know,
Right.
but we're definitely, I'm interested. And then for me, the basketball courts
Uh-huh.
are a lovely idea, but for me, they really should have lights. So we've gotten some preliminary ideas of costs for the basketball courts.
Right.
But I would like to see us as a, underneath that possibly as another expense to know what it would cost, what lights would cost.
Okay.
To maximize the investment in the basketball courts is to allow people who would use it after dark.
Understand?
So for me, those are two things that I would appreciate some, estimates, and just looking at what that would cost. And then Sarzoti, for timing for me, I think that's something I'd like to work on where this fits in. And this gets to priorities versus ideas for projects. But
Right.
because I think, where do we put it exactly?
I have a concern, though. I know we're getting to these projects and everything, but has anybody really taken the time to go over and sit and look at our infrastructure over there, the internal of the building and stuff? Everything's starting to look real tired. I think we need to move forward with things like resurfacing that floor in the gymnasium, which is our moneymaker because everybody uses it. It looks dry. It looks like it needs a little bit of a facelift in there. I think we should include things like that.
And so that was on this list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's on our
that
old
is,
list.
it's on
yeah.
our wish.
Yeah.
So maybe, and that's something we probably don't have an accurate cost for at this point. So
I,
maybe that's something-
well, I don't know. I know that we had talked on the cost of it and everything. It just, I don't want us to get into a point where we're out there putting in all kinds of other stuff before we take care of what we have already.
I really don't want to see us be a one or the other kind of situation here, because I think we're in the place where we're trying to look big and bring in all of our
Well,
ideas.
naturally.
So, I mean, when we get to priorities for me, that would be more of a discussion. Plus, it's not a $100,000 project, is it? We're talking,
You might be talking about resurfacing the gym floor.
And that,
Not
I
really.
mean, some recommend, every year, we're not just talking
So it's almost like
buffing
maintenance.
and, yeah, it is,
It is
but it's a
maintenance.
heavier maintenance cost.
you're
If you did it on an
talking beyond.
annual, you're talking about 2,500, 3,000
okay,
to.
but a very
to-
different scope or
To finish the
scale.
floor,
And
I
a-
mean, if,
Then a new facility.
Yeah.
then a completely new floor, yeah, you want a completely new, like taking it
No,
down
I
to
think
the
we should
wood
stay with what we
and do
have.
that.
Oh, no, that wasn't what I
and
was
you've got
suggesting.
the sand repaint and finish the gym floor at 18,500.
Right, that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
If you want to resand the floor and get it right down to the wood and refinish it that way and repaint the lines, because you would literally take that
Off.
right down to like a hardwood floor, which is what it is, and repaint all the lines and do all that finishing, yeah, it would be 18, but to get it looking nice on a
When was the last
annual
time-
or twice, once every 2 years, that would be about 2,500 to 3,000.
But Robert, what you're talking about is the larger project.
It's a larger project. Taking it down, then budget future year maintenance is $2,500. I mean,
Yeah,
know that
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 makes
has to be
sense.
done.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have
Right.
to get it to a point to
That
where.
helps me. I was trying to decide if we were talking about the yearly maintenance or if we were talking about a bigger.
No, this is the
He's talking
bigger,
about it.
taking it down,
Yep.
redoing everything in there, and then set a budget, if it is 2,500, to move forward with. Make sure we have that every year to
Yeah.
have it done.
Well,
Yeah, we
the-
have.
The discussion is it every year or every other.
Well,
I mean,
whatever it is,
yeah.
you know, if, yeah, scheduled
Yeah, it is a
maintenance
scheduled
item.
maintenance
Yeah,
item. It is.
we had
It
quite
is,
a-
actually.
We had several discussions at the staff level on that about a year and a half ago, and basically the discussion was, well, we need this, but it hasn't been happening. And I said, well, we've got a maintenance budget, so let's make sure that we use our maintenance budget. And so we have been able to up that. And of course, it's like a lot of things, you want to be able to ideally do it, once a year or once a month, and, well, we're doing it about half that, which was, better than not
Better than
doing it at
nothing.
all. So, but those are good things to look at.
So can I ask you a question? For the outdoor basketball courts, it says no lights, but we can look into the cost of
I
lights.
just,
but-
I'd like to know what it would cost, because
Yeah.
as we're designing it,
Uh-huh.
I would think it would be good to design it with it, even if we can't afford to do it, so that.
We
farther
could
down
also
you add it on.
postpone that for a few, following year, maybe.
Just like we do with the skate park.
Yeah,
sorry.
same thing.
So, but you have it in the two years budget, so you can move it over? Is it a total cost of 24?
I don't know that for me, I'm looking I'm not looking at where to put it from my
Okay.
perspective, so much as just an additional line item for the lights and knowing what the cost
I
is.
agree.
Because for the Sarzodi stuff,
We hope that
particularly
that
with the.
master
Exactly.
plan that's coming up will identify the area that
Right.
Yeah.
we want. And instead of us trying to pick the area or the city,
Well, or even the
Public Works.
timing. I mean,
Time?
in some ways, when we get that whole plan back and we have a better sense of all of the needs and what the public's looking for and the best, that might change what we do.
Okay. So, go ahead, sorry.
And not to influence, what you'd like to see at Sarasota or what the public would like to see, but we've talked about, we don't have it on there, but we've talked about new equipment at Sarasota's playground.
Mhm.
And would we need shade even, we talk about shade, I know a lot of the playgrounds come now with shade built into the structure, but do we want to add new playground in there somewhere?
Absolutely.
We don't have it in there.
I
and
know, it didn't
you-
make the list quite.
It didn't make the list.
It's on the other list.
It's on this
but
list,
It's
right?
on
yeah, I was
that
gonna
list,
say,
but
it's on the
not
other list.
I absolutely
It's-
would want to make sure that it's on.
Right, and,
Yeah.
at staff level, in our meetings, we talk about too, of course, what we'd like to see at the park as well, and we'll share that at some point to include this on the list, but, I've talked about the little gator shed that you visited and where we keep the lawnmower. I mean, if in Ojai Day, equipment, it would be great to just, quite honestly, get rid of those
Yeah.
buildings and put some really nice corrugated, big buildings on site, but we don't have it on the list.
Well,
yet,
and I think
but-
that's where, I think we revisit this after the master plan is
Yeah.
done, no matter what, don't we? With more knowledge.
But that's just.
Sure,
for
that makes
Sarasota,
sense.
though,
Yeah, for
too.
Sarzodi.
yeah.
But anything,
Master plan calls for looking
It,
beyond zero. That's where I
Yeah.
read it.
that's what I read.
So if there's other things that they find in their research,
in the
Right.
input.
and it's not gonna fit at Zarzodi, then
Then we know.
we're asking them to know enough about the other parks that, could you put it somewhere else, or?
And I think that's really important, yeah.
So one of the things is that the RFP, when it comes back,
Mm-hmm.
we're asking for a timeline, so
Right.
within that, like, say we get it back and we see the plan and share it out and everyone has input, then we'll build a timeline for when we can start the process, like a short-term, long-term goals for budget process, is that how you wanna do it, or?
Well, I think, you mean when the plan comes back?
Yeah, when it comes back.
Doesn't that have to do with the timing of the budget? I mean, the budget has a time frame that we can't move. So when we get the master, you're asking how that will affect our budget when the master plan comes
Exactly.
back?
So I don't wanna lose anything on here, but
It won't even be for this period of time. I think we're gonna be looking
looking for
at
next year.
the next
Right.
year's physical budget.
Okay.
Right, right.
Which.
Which I
knowing
think
that-
is great, because then we can really truly plan.
Right.
Do we like that? Have a backup. If something comes up on the master plan, for instance, and the guy is suggesting something different, if we had a backup, we could also switch over to that backup. But I'm very curious, as Commissioner Ford is, about seeing what's gonna come up on that master plan.
So it may make sense as we move forward in this discussion, perhaps to identify You know, those things that we really can't make a decision on at this point in terms of, you know, it's a Sarzati, you know, which it's hinging on the study of the master plan. And like you said, Commissioner Ford, to a certain extent, that could spill over to other projects as well. So I guess we'll have to be mindful of that. And then I guess the other question would be, with that caveat, are there other items that the commission would want to recommend going forward for this next coming fiscal year in terms of the capital improvement, knowing that, you know, we've got some work to be done once we get that master plan back and can get some, you know, input from the community, input from the consultant, and then input from the commission and public again, before we would take a recommendation to council.
I'm looking at this slightly differently, and I see exactly where you're going, but my input would be, there are projects on there I would not like to see us start
Uh-huh.
at this point that are slated to start, like the picnic structures and the shade structures. In that large back corner, that large northeast corner, pretty big part of Sarzoti Park is slated to have a project built. I don't know what the exact timing is, and so it's not really an issue yet, but it's something to keep close track of.
We had it,
It's, I mean, as far as, I know it's on there, but I don't know what the real time.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, the basketball court,
But
the tractor shed, refurb, all
Well, I know,
that's
but
on
I
there.
think that one's the closest from our
Right.
reports to being,
Right.
to a breaking ground kind of project. And from my perspective, I really would hope we wouldn't do that. I know that there's budgetary concerns because it's CDBG money.
That
and
could be the
when we
trick
spend it
there,
and when we
yeah.
don't. But I think we should get ahead of it, knowing, at least my impression, my opinion is, and we should take a, see where everyone else is on this, that we are clear from the commission standpoint, if we all agree, to not push forward with that and look at other options. Can we push money to a different direction? Are there other projects we could do in that park that are a similar price that would meet CDBG standards? Just to be prepared for that, because it's such a large piece of the back corner of Sarzoti. It's that northeast corner.
I hear everything that you're saying. I'm just not sure if the cat is already out of the barn on that one.
Well,
Have we seen
we haven't broken
design?
ground. We
Yeah,
don't have the
but-
design.
I know
so
that.
We have an old
Design?
design.
Right.
I think that, well, whether it is or it isn't, the best thing I feel like we can do is at least bring up that if there is potential to look for, I think the direction should be, if we can do something different, put it off, make it work a different way, let's do that, because it's a big piece of that park that we would then be saying to our new consultant, well, don't design anything here. We haven't built anything yet, but we're planning on
I
it.
don't think we should stop anything. I think we should continue on the movement we're going, and then if something comes up in the plan that he has a better, I mean, we haven't started breaking ground or anything on it, I think that. But I think stopping things that we've already pushed forward and had.
When we didn't have a when we were, I don't know, it's just a hard thing when you're renewing a master
Well-
plan. And to do that, I don't see the value. If we have, I'd like to look for options where we don't have to do that.
Understand.
If we have to do that, we have to do that. But I think the direction should be to look for an opportunity to leave that space available to the designer, to the master plan process.
Understand.
And we can roll the budget over, correct?
It's CDBG money, it's
Oh.
complicated.
That, so let,
It's not, I don't think it's a certainty either way, is it?
we'll need to look into it and
Yeah.
find out where we're at. And I'll.
Well, that'll
we can-
dictate
We can
what
come
we
back.
do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would find that out
Well-
first before it dictates.
Yes, but there have been historically, we have had projects where we switched our money. I know it's not easy, I don't know it's not what
Sure.
they're looking to do, but it's been done. It is not an unheard of thing to do. And we might have other projects like floors and gym. I mean, maybe there are things that you're talking about at Sarzoti, because the CDBG is specific to an area, right? You're spending it to serve certain groups, and all of
Right.
Sarzoti is within the area.
That's correct,
So
right.
when
Which
you're
is-
working at Sarzoti, you're working to serve a similar population. I know this is not simple, and I'm not trying to make it sound overly simple, but there have been historic projects where money has been pushed from one thing to another when it made sense. I don't know that it's possible.
Sure.
I know that it's happened.
We're happy to look into that for you.
Okay, thank
Let
you.
you know where it's at and what the implications are so that everybody understands, what you're looking at there.
Thank you.
Sure, be happy to.
But, I mean, for tonight, like Steve mentioned, is there anything on that capital improvement list that isn't on there, such as playground?
Well, Sarzoti
that you'd
Playground,
like to
absolutely. I'd like to
Add
know.
and even prioritize, I mean, I know it's hard because of the Sarasota master plan isn't out there yet, but
Well, I think,
other capital improvement projects we talked about, you got last meeting, we talked about restrooms.
Yeah, and
at Libby.
I brought
The
that
lower
up.
and upper restrooms. I don't know
I
if
have
that's on
photo-
there.
we have
Is that on
photos.
there?
I
Ew.
went, after that discussion, I actually went down there because I'd never used those restrooms before, and I took some photos because I'm sure you guys have never been in the women's restroom except Sage and I, and it's pretty bad. It kind of, I mean, the bathroom's very clean, functional, and everything else was very nice, but there are no stalls. So basically, it's like
You just walk in.
you just walk in, and it kind of gave me the.
Yeah, they're half
Prison look.
stalls, right?
But for women, and there are a lot of kids down there and stuff, but basically when you are, this photo is like you are at the door. And so that's what you see when you are standing at the door, and if there's a line, so,
And the men's room is no better.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't go look in the men's room, but I feel that
There's
this,
no doors on the stalls in
Con-
the men's.
considering when I pulled up at, like, on my way to work, and it was early in the morning, and there were probably
There's
12
some
women
kids.
playing tennis out there, and there's kids, it's
Yeah,
it's really busy, and I think this could be a priority just to get stalls in there, because nothing else is wrong with the bathroom, it's just.
No.
You can actually
right.
install stalls or doors right
Yeah, I was
now.
wondering about that too.
Exactly.
That brick, you can do that, and just
It's just
right in there.
I
kind of.
If
it's
anything, that would
substandard.
be, that's cheap, you know, a
Yeah.
couple $100 per stall,
So
but
I just, yeah, we wanted to talk about that, as,
like Sarasota used to look.
Yeah.
not that I want to
Everybody's
pass around
Come up
bathroom
in the world.
pictures,
This is the
but
last of ours that I know of that look like this
Sure.
without
But
doors.
is it on there? I don't see
I
it
don't know
on
if any-
there. Is it?
No, but we're happy to put it on the list and bring it back and try and come up
it's
with a,
basically restroom stalls with no doors whatsoever, with pony walls, so it's totally visible from the front
And the
door.
walls are pretty short.
Yeah. So I would say, I don't think that would be super
Okay.
expensive to look into doors and stalls,
okay,
for men's and women's.
And possibly using the
Oh, the
fund that I can't remember that does the recycle.
Yeah, we were thinking you could find recycled
Because they have some of
materials.
those recycled materials for that, for some.
Oh,
it's in
the
some
AB
bathrooms.
939?
Yes, thank you.
For the trash
If we
cans
could-
and all.
oh,
Because
okay.
there are, I've been in places where they're using recycled
Well,
plastic.
Greg is very creative on,
dividers.
with that,
You might-
so,
yeah. Even
I'm,
in rainbow colors, I've seen them. I mean,
okay, we'll get them in rainbow colors.
rainbow colors.
Yeah, otherwise, the bathroom, is clean and nice, it just,
But maybe
Okay.
that would be funding we could tap into for that,
Okay,
possibly.
sure. All right, yeah, we can try to come up with some type of a,
As with that one,
Estimate,
as
get
far
that
as
improved.
priorities, it kind of is one of those things that it should just be done. Because we don't have anywhere else like this in our system. We used to have Sarasota and we all knew how bad that was. And this is kind of like I don't think people know that it looks like this inside, but
except all the users.
it's a little embarrassing. I think we should do this sooner than later. Not a super expensive, I mean, just make it work, but,
More of an upgrade,
yeah. A little remodel.
yeah. But, you could take the cinder block out and just put 3 stalls in there.
So that's, I mean, yeah, so what would that cost?
okay, we'll research that.
So far, basketball lights,
Right.
Sarasota playground,
Right,
scooter park,
right,
floor in the gym,
correct,
the bathroom.
right.
What else? Anything else?
What's happening with the, I remember doing Boy Scouts in this old shed in the
The Quonset?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
uh-huh.
Do we have any plans for that? On the-
I think the Public Works, I think Greg said something about they're gonna be redoing the
Redid
floor
the
and stuff
floor.
in that.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so it's gonna be resurfaced, or not resurfaced, but I
Floor
guess
will be new.
new flooring.
Is it used for anything right now, or?
It's storage, I
Storage.
think.
It is storage for both pony baseball and recreation
So
department
you guys are sharing it.
items. Yeah, we are sharing that space for
Can I
storage.
ask a question?
We could put that on the list, just so that we don't forget about it in terms of discussion. Okay.
But is that one of the sheds that would move possibly, as well?
It could, there's
Okay.
another,
Yeah.
there's another
It's like
like cargo,
Container.
large cargo
Right.
container, also
Like a pod.
for storage for pony baseball
Right.
that's stored on our site. That whole, south corner is also
The
quite a
southeast, mhm.
big space. So
Scooter park.
do we get rid of all those, get rid of the cargo shed, get rid of the Quonset hut and put something else there, a bigger building, but you're talking
Multifunctional,
I-
a multifunctional, but you're talking about X number of dollars, I don't know what it,
Made out of all
Would
recycled.
we get into
material.
any issues, though, with the historic preservation as far as for that?
Well, the
quantum
Quonset
hut?
Hut's really
It
cool,
could
actually.
move too,
Yeah,
right?
you could.
I'm
talked
not
about
I don't
sure.
know.
They talked about moving it before.
I don't know
Does it
about-
have historic landmark status?
Yeah.
If it does, then I would say yes.
I'll
If
take
not,
it.
then we're probably okay.
Can you talk a little bit about the future projects allocation, the $40,000? I know Greg kind of went over that.
Yeah, sure, I'd be happy to. So, right now, just for planning purposes, because, you know, obviously the council, that's an annual process with the budget, and it's, you know, it's council's discretion in terms of what they want to put into the capital improvement plan on a year-in, year-out basis. So as a planning tool, what we've been plugging in there is, it's 40 or 50,000, I got it,
I think it's 40.
40, and then,
1 year it's 50.
right, we had the 1 year at 50. And then we also have the opportunity to, any of the overage from the Park and Recreation, our operating fund, we've been able to put that aside into the Fund 31 specific just for recreation and park facility improvements. So, of course,
that
we
a line
can't
item in our
bank on that.
Is it a line item in our budget, that number you just said? Or is
No,
that in here?
the budget is essentially balanced, and like I said, the last few years, we've done well in terms of our revenues versus our expenses. And rather than just have that money go back into the city's general fund
We retain
by policy, we've been able to carve that out and hold that, again, just for future park improvement. So it's a nice incentive for us and a nice way to continue to fund and feed our programs and improve our facilities.
I have one other.
But there's nothing, sorry, I
Oh, no, go ahead.
apologize, but there's, again, there's nothing guaranteed or set in terms of that 40,000, but that's the direction that we're hoping to continue to go in at this point. And then it also doesn't take into account any funds that we could leverage either through grants, donations, AB 939, any other sources like that, which is what the other fund column is on that layout chart there.
I had an item I wanted to bring up that is a little complicated in the way that it came to us, and I don't know exactly where we are, but the skate park lights, I know that we didn't assign money to that in our budget at any point, and it came in as an outside group wanting to put those together. And I don't know what the amount would be, but I think as the city is getting, you know, we are going to receive these lights and really increase the capacity of recreation at that site. I think it would be worth looking at participating in the funding of the lights. So, but I don't know how much they've earned, I don't know where the fundraising is, and I don't know what that number would be or how significant it would be, but I think it would be nice, since the city will benefit from it and the recreation department will benefit from it, our whole system. I wouldn't mind putting some funding toward that. And I don't know what the timing would be, so, but.
Which lights?
Certainly
Oh,
can.
for the skate park. They have their design all that ready. I don't know where anything else stands.
I think we have to find out where they're at.
I don't know what the full cost of the project is.
It's estimated about 60,000.
Remember, we were going with the more efficient lights, right?
Yes, these are the LED lights,
Approved
correct.
lights.
Right. Right, yeah,
So
absolutely.
mostly bringing it up to just spur discussion amongst our commission, because I don't know how people would feel about that.
I mean, they were presented as being fully funded, but.
I don't
that-
believe that's true.
Yeah, so if it wasn't, then I would entertain assisting to where it got to the fully funded pig, depending on how much,
What that means, yeah, exactly.
to get it done.
Right.
And that would,
And is there anything for the BMX park that we would consider, or is that something that?
I think that's harder from my perspective to
'Cause it's
participate
not
in.
done yet,
I mean, the lights are
They're
all the way through, they've got their planning,
Yeah.
everything's pretty much set to go, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
But we're talking about just adding
Correct.
stuff to the list as well. Shouldn't we just put that on our radar at least as
The
well?
BMX should go on there,
The BMX
absolutely.
should be on our radar.
That makes good sense.
I guess the challenge on both of those is we don't quite know, I mean, we're not looking to fund the full price tag, so at some point, you'd want to have some discussion in terms of, you know,
Exactly, I would let them proceed as far as they can go, and then,
yeah, with the pump track, the bike park, you know, they are finalizing their site plan and whatnot, and I don't want to speak for them. I don't think they're quite at the point yet where they have made that decision on whether they're going to come and ask the city for some funding assistance or not. But I would expect that would probably be coming pretty soon. So that one, we probably don't have to speculate or guess too much on, because I suspect we'll probably either be getting a request soon or an indication that, you know, that they're self-funded. And then, of course, with the skate park lights, that is a little different, since we do know pretty much what that will cost. But we don't know.
It's not something
where-
we've
where
planned for,
Skate
so
Ojai's with,
from my
right.
perspective, it won't be a substantial amount of the project, but some participations might be reasonable.
But yeah, the commission can certainly come up with a figure and say, this is what we want to recommend.
Once everything comes back and we're looking at our priorities and where the money is.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we can certainly put that on the list. Like I said, you'll just have to come up with what you're comfortable with, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. Was there anything else on this old list that piques your interest that is not currently on the approved capital improvement list, or what you would like to see on your wish list for the capital improvements?
You know, some of these for me, I don't know as much about overseeding of grass and some of this other stuff. It's not that I feel
yeah.
strongly one way or the other, I don't know
I
much
would,
about it.
I would say, yeah, and sorry, we didn't really get a chance to refine
No,
this
no, that's
much.
okay.
But yeah, I would say things like, you know, those small ticket items, the refinishing the NPR stage. I mean, that's something that we could
Another pot of
still,
money.
you know, find a way to work to get that done. You know, computers, I mean, if there's a specific need there in terms of something that we're trying to go after. But there is a sinking fund that's getting developed to try to address those things going forward. You know, I wouldn't, you know, the workstations, I don't know that that's even on the list at this point.
Right, because it's an
probably-
old list.
Right. You know, but yeah, like the overseeding of the grass, I don't really see that as a capital improvement project, but,
And quite a few of these
Releasing.
things are just already on our list.
right.
Or various other lists are being dealt with, so.
One of the things that I've thought about is, from being over at Sarasota, is the CrossFit group. That's such a popular
Mm-hmm.
program, and they cook in the sun. And I feel like they're doing an amazing job with what they have, and they have that slab. But I've been out there when it's hot, and they have this funky shade thing, and so I think, I mean, I know that we might move, or I don't know if there's some type of pop-up or something we
Well,
can
it's a
offer.
shade structure for
Shade
the-
structure,
For the,
but that might, you know, eventually move,
CrossFit.
but even, I feel like that's sort of every time I go there, there's tons of people doing that program, and, you know, they're active, but they are like, they're you know how when the slab is right up to the wall, and how the heat transfers, it just seems really
well, and
possibly extra uncomfortable.
on the shade issue too, with
Yeah.
Sarasota, in that courtyard.
Yeah, we
we've
talked about
so
that.
many times about that
Right,
courtyard. And
right.
I'd love to see something happen there, because it's creating a whole new space to program. Because there are times where you just can't program it in the full sun. I mean, you do sometimes, but
Well-
it could be a lot more
In the back?
comfortable. Yeah, between the gym and
Yeah,
the
and the
main
play-
building.
Yeah.
Some kind of shade structure
Right.
over the top of that. I'd like to see that go on there. And I also don't think it's a tremendously expensive project either.
But we're talking about something, you know, wouldn't be
You could take
would
up
be
and
weatherproof or anything like that. I mean, but just to
Provide just
take
shade.
the heat off a little bit on the
Yeah.
hot days. Got it. And
What
not
are
just
Well-
direct
those
it.
retractable awnings
Yeah.
goes out there,
But
Oh, I know you.
and you can pull it.
Yeah,
it can-
maybe.
yeah,
It wouldn't be a bad idea to see something weatherproof out there.
Even when it's
actually, Mr.
raining.
McClure.
That
It-
would-
Okay.
It would be
Yeah.
nice to make a fully functional,
Well, so
covered
That'd be great.
area year-round
Did you use
So
that
let's
space?
shade and
maybe have two options to look at.
rain when we get it, but we've talked about it many times, especially the summer program. It's really a often used space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, every time I go there.
okay, we have talked about it many times at the staff level.
Yeah.
What kind of structure would go over that whole courtyard area? I don't know what it would look like or what it would
Well-
cost, but that's for the site
Yeah.
design person
Well, and
to
that's
come
where
in
we
and
were
look
out
at.
there one day just talking about doing the sails.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was
Into
gonna
loops
ask.
into the
Cloth, would
building,
it-
and that's a pretty inexpensive
Yeah.
fix, and you could take them up and down if you had to, only have them up for certain seasons. But I like the idea of looking at both options, a much more permanent and more of a, really cost-friendly, have it soon, have it for summer kind of project.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're talking about the CrossFit shade.
Yeah, I'm just, you know what I'm talking about.
Same
I'm
print, same principle, especially in the summer, they'll change their location and they'll go above the gym, but that's I'll keep referring back to the Sarasota master plan. That might be included in that master plan, like, hey, we've got a expanding CrossFit program. We need to have better shading out there. What could that look like off of the building?
I wonder if you could reach out to those guys and see if that's something they want, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like, just from looking, yeah.
Well, I'm sure they
They do.
would.
Yeah, but if there's since it would be, we're gonna do the Sarasota, master plan, and maybe it moves or whatever, but maybe there's a temporary, sort of pop-up, if you will, that's tall enough, because I know they go pretty high, that would allow them to have
Yeah,
some
because
shade.
the metal structure itself, where their pull-up bars and all that are pretty high.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, you would.
I guess I'm thinking more of something like where people pull their RVs in, they're like alumina, or just something that provides shade, but
Well,
it's not
like
permanent
we talked
until we
about
find out.
retractable, but again, that's probably bigger
Well, I think that
costs.
those
Oh,
are,
not
I mean,
really.
they're options.
No,
No,
Yeah,
they're not that bad.
no, they're not really. I think
They're not that bad.
you'd find that they're pretty reasonable to put in, and also, we could use it if it goes to another location. I mean, it's something that we could hold on to if they decide to put CrossFit someplace.
I don't see it moving
No.
from that location. It's
I'm sure,
adjacent to the upstairs workout
Yeah.
room. It
and I'm
makes
sure we'll
sense to
identify
leave
them
it
as a
there.
stakeholder, so when
Oh,
the
yeah.
planning process is happening, I'm sure they'll be engaged.
It would be,
Is
CrossFit
the
would appreciate
retractable
it.
one different than like what's over the bowl?
Those just,
Yeah, it's a retractable awning system. The
Attached to
basic,
the wall.
it comes completely out, straight out from the wall. It's
And they're-
So
rigid.
you
and
want something rather than not like what's over the bowl?
I haven't really looked at the bowl.
So that's a shade cloth,
Shade cloth.
right?
Yeah, I don't think we
which
should
if you're doing those, the
sales.
sail ones, those are shade cloth.
Mhm.
Yeah. One is, it's about no rain, how much you're keeping out of the elements and the permanency of the structure. Because I'm sure the awnings are longer lasting than shade cloth. Shade cloth is something you replace.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Periodically.
I thought the shade cloth would last for quite a while, but
I thought
maybe.
like the one on the bowl was rated.
I think 10 years,
I think
yeah. And then we're trying to take it down for a few months out of the year to stretch it as well. So,
It's pretty good.
yeah, I
I
think,
don't, but I don't know how much those cost, so I mean, I don't know if it's,
Well,
you know,
I think what Greg could look at, I think we walked
sure.
it, we walked it out there, and I think he even had some ideas then, so maybe look at a simpler solution and maybe a more permanent solution
uh-huh.
that would keep the rain out for more programs during different times of the year, and just what he thinks those might cost.
Okay. And then on the, what I'm thinking about when you talk about those awnings is, you're seeing people out in their backyard and, they retract in and they go out, that type of thing. They're fixed to the building, and
They
so
are
you can
fixed to the
pull them in, pull them
Yeah.
out, and they
They're
really
electric.
do block the sun. I mean, completely.
yeah, but those are limited on the length of them, and on the CrossFit, that's a 20
Get
by
up to
20.
35 feet.
It's 35 feet? Oh, I thought it was 20. Anyways.
Yeah.
Bigger than I thought.
It's too big for something like RV.
Yeah.
Retractable
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
thing. That's
yeah.
why I was thinking about something like is on the bowl, it can be attached.
Uh-huh.
I like
To
the
the-
shade cloth
to the
idea
building.
because it does do 10 years.
Yeah, it can be
So-
attached to the
Right.
building, you can run the stringers out
Uh-huh.
to poles,
Yep.
and, you can pull it back if you wanted to,
Yeah.
It's
I like that.
permanent, I guess you'd say, but it's
Yeah.
not like,
No,
you know, building a whole nother structure.
Right,
So,
work with what we already have.
And then I have another question. As far as gymnastics, since that's one of our most popular programs, is there anything on their wish list that?
A new gym.
Yeah, I know that. I know they want a new gym, but I'm just
On the
curious
existing
because
master
of
plan.
so much use and if they, you know,
equipment wise,
Yeah,
their
equipment,
equipment
like,
doesn't
well,
need
do they
to
need
be
to
replace their
upgraded,
equipment?
replaced.
They replace their
more.
own equipment. They have a
They're very
very
impressive.
active
Yeah.
parent group
Right,
that
right.
does a lot of fundraising for
Amazing.
them.
big.
So they're pretty resourceful group. Not to say they
Because
don't
they
have
had to
needs,
be,
but
but is there any
Yeah,
help
that's
that
what I
we
think.
can offer them?
we should look
well,
at that.
if the coordinator of the program was sitting right next to me, she'd
Jumping
push
up and
me
down.
and be jumping
Yeah.
up and down. But I don't.
Well, we
nothing
have
pops-
time. You can
I mean,
talk-
We can
aside of
ask her.
building, we can ask her, but
Sure.
you know, I think she would say, all joking aside, is I need my own space.
Oh, she's in the office with you, huh?
No,
In the-
I don't mean that.
The new gym, yes.
I mean,
Oh, I
She
know.
needs
she
a-
needs her own gym.
A gymnastics
space,
gym.
A gymnastics gym.
Yeah.
And so they don't have to take down equipment. And
Yeah.
quite honestly, it is, when we talk about the gym floor, it is rough on the gym floor too. To put all that equipment on there and the chalk, and it's just,
We've talked about
it's just
that.
how, it's just what we have to do. We have to share the space. But that would be her biggest wish list.
Is there
item,
something
but that's-
functionally to help that in the gym? Like, is there something that would help with, you know, moving the,
Set up
they're
and take
not,
down.
I'm not gonna say dolly, but, you know, some sort of system, cause
They-
that gyms have to, no, just people moving.
Well, I think, no,
People.
I think the answer is to ask her. I think what
Yeah.
Steve said, just,
Yeah, we just,
Ask- I mean,
I'll ask her what.
that's gotta be one of our most
Yep.
popular programs.
One of our
I
strongest
do know
programs.
the group though is very resourceful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good group that
Mhm.
seem to come up with their own things. But I agree, we should be helping our
Exactly.
programs out that are benefiting us and becoming larger in size. I think we should look at each one of them and say, hey, you know, do we have everything we need? Is there a wish list that you want?
Yeah.
And then we could go through the wish list, look at it and say, well, you know, we can do this or not, so.
So I think we've talked over the time I've been here, that reaching out and finding opportunities for teenagers, things that aren't necessarily sport-driven, so maybe there's something that we could include in the rec room that, we've talked about computers in the past, we've talked about music and art and just other options and maybe things that
Oh,
we
that
haven't thought
reminds
about.
me. I had an idea,
You did, what's that?
but it's my idea, and so I have to
There's a light
preface
bulb
that.
idea.
It's not the commission's idea, it's my idea, so.
Okay, you have good ideas.
um, Is there any, would anybody have any interest in seeing a small outdoor chessboard?
Oh, that would be
A
cool.
table.
Or possibly some tables that you could put up for people. And I didn't bring an example here, but I've seen them in a couple of places. It's basically a concrete checker or chessboard. You know, you lay it in the, you know, around the grass or, you know, and I've actually seen it where they make, you know, chess pieces that are, you know, a couple feet in height, and they, you know, you can get them in plastic so that they're, you know, pretty easy to pick up, and carry around. You're not going to hurt your back trying to pick up that queen or something. And we thought it might be an interesting thing for kids and adults.
I think
Santa-
that.
Santa Barbara's fun.
You can do it, you know, you can get it out, and you can do it outside, so you have that opportunity to take advantage of the nice weather, and then there's the visibility of people out there. So sometimes in a scale like that, it's, you know, there's a novelty factor there. But and then in the conversation, we talked about, yeah, if you're gonna do that, it might be good to put a couple of outdoor tables as well. So
It's a good idea.
I like it.
anyways, we can, if the commission is okay with, likes that idea, we can put it on the list and research a little
They
further.
do it up by the Mission in Santa Barbara out in the Rose Garden.
Oh, okay.
know that?
And they have a big life-size chest where you can go out. It's really fun.
There's also one in, that I'm, happen to know, at Leisure Village in Camarillo. They have one out there, and it's just a really simple thing. So, and one of the nice things about it is, you know, it doesn't really impact the rest of your park.
Right.
I mean, obviously, you wouldn't want to put that in the middle of a playing field, but You know, it's not as if it completely takes out that whole chunk. You could still do stuff on
That
it.
area
so.
you're talking
Your
about.
north corner or
Exactly.
Right.
the
Or,
southeast.
or interestingly, in the front. I mean, it's
Sure.
kind of something, it's fun to look at. It's,
Right.
It's an attractive thing to come do. But who knows? Throw it in the mix for the master plan and see where they think it looks good.
All right.
Any other discussion and ideas on?
A lot of input, so thank you for that, and we'll work on putting that on the list and putting some research and some figures to those.
I didn't ask, does anyone in the public want to speak about it? We don't have anyone in the public right now. Okay, so we'll move on to discussion item B, Libby Park Playground and Shade Structure. Recommendation received on the Libby Park Playground equipment process.
So really just wanted to give a quick update to let the commission know that the city council did approve the RFP to go out for the, basically the design of the park, the design of the playground equipment. I gotta shift my brain here. And Mr. Grant is finalizing that. I know he sent a final draft around, and he's trying to get that issued out hopefully tomorrow. So that will be going out, and I'm sorry I don't have the dates in front of me and when those are due back. But it's coming. Thank you.
Of March,
Right.
if this is still accurate.
Now that's the Sarzati master plan, but we are
haven't
in.
seen a copy of the.
We haven't seen our,
Yeah.
It's not out yet. When it's all, I'll make sure to email that out to everybody so that you've got a copy of that. But we're thinking next March might be a very busy meeting. We expect to have the responses back to the RFP for the Sarzati Park Master Plan, and we're hoping to also have some responses back on the Libby Park Playground as well. So we'll probably have a lot of discussion on that at the March meeting in addition to this capital improvement plan. So next month's going to be pretty big. But really just want to let you know that they get approved by council, and it is going out very soon. And just to let you know that the outcome, the direction that we did go was what we had talked about here at our January meeting. So that's moving quickly.
nice. Did anyone have anything they wanted to say about that discussion item? Nope. Okay. So we'll move on to C, Sarasota Park Master Plan. Receive an update on request for proposals for the Sarasota Master Plan and determine process, appoint committee for review of the proposals.
So that one has been issued. I've gotten a pretty good response out there. I've gotten almost 10 cold inquiries from firms who are interested in the RFP that has been sent out to all of them. So it sounds like we've got a good, a fair, high level of interest on this from several local firms and others in the state. I'm trying to think if we have had any out of state, but we're definitely getting some from, not just in Ventura County. So the word is getting out, which is good. So on the calendar for that, as you can see, a lot going on here. The responses are due back on March 2nd. So I'm hoping we could get some consensus tonight on whether we want to continue to use our facilities committee for that, or if you want to appoint an ad hoc committee just to review these proposals. But you can see it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround. The responses are due March 2nd. I'm hoping we could meet with the committee right after that, and then take something to this commission at your March 5th meeting so that we can keep this moving as fast as we can.
So as it sits now, the facilities committee is Robert, myself, and Austin,
That is correct.
just so everybody knows.
Right, yes, thank you for clarifying that. So, so my question is if you want to continue and have that as continue under the work of the facilities committee, or if you would rather do an ad hoc committee just to review those proposals. And then, once I know that, I'll work to get something scheduled now so that we can get something on the calendar for, somewhere in there, March 3rd, 4th, or 5th, and have that discussion and bring that recommendation. So when we meet at the March meeting, we won't have a recommendation in your packet because we wouldn't have reviewed the proposals at that point, so we would be presenting that at the commission at that night.
I think it'd be important to have the same team that's already done a lot of the homework, continue working, have the field team.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, that makes
facilities team
sense.
do that. You guys have already researched a lot and been to some meetings. So to me, it makes sense.
I'd be happy to do it. I can make the calendar work. Do you think you can make the schedule work?
Sure. Yeah, that's not an issue.
Okay.
And Austin?
What about you, Austin? Can you make it around that time? March the
Second, well, it comes back the second, so third, fourth.
3rd, 4th, or the 5th if we had to, right? That'd be,
Third, fourth would be the Tuesday, Wednesday before our Thursday meeting.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
okay, well, I'll send an email out to the committee members and we'll try to get that scheduled now so that we have that set aside.
That'd be great.
Excellent, thank you.
Exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. Let's see. So next we have recreation staff reports.
Yeah, gosh. A lot of handouts this evening, so, and some of them, I may have missed a few of you, so let me get back to my agenda and see what we're first, okay. So some program reviews. Last Saturday, we had a billiards tournament. We had 12 people participate, and yeah, it was actually, we thought it was a pretty good turnout. Yeah, first one. Well, our first and only. We just thought we'd try it out, see how it worked. So
That's great.
yeah, it was nice. Allison ran that tournament. It was a round robin, double elimination, but it worked out nicely. So I'm sure we'll do it again at some point, and hopefully it'll draw more people in, as often happens if you do things more than once. Yeah. This Saturday, you'll see the little ticket I passed out to you. We have a bingo night coming up. I will be the guest caller, so I'll be calling that out. I will have a couple more staff there, but we'll be, as it says on that little ticket, it's $10 a person, and once they're there, they can actually purchase an extra card at a, I think we're going to do like $2 or $3 if you want to purchase an extra card. We'll have prizes there, like for local businesses. We'll do gift cards for local businesses, and we'll also be giving gift certificates for recreation programs. So we'll give them options for when they do hit bingo. We'll give them options as to what they can choose for their prizes. And then the following Saturday, we have another parent night out, movie night. It's going to be Wall-E. I haven't seen that movie. I don't know. But yeah, good. It's an oldie, but so that's another parent night out, as you know, where the parents can drop their child off, and at $10 we feed and provide popcorn and drink for the children. So that'll be the following Saturday night.
Just the date, just so we get it out there.
Oh, so
you're announcing it. So
yeah,
anyone's watching
yeah,
at
like
home will get
everyone that's watching. So the bingo night is this Saturday, February 7th. I'm sorry, I said the following Saturday. It's actually Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Okay.
February 13th. Both of these are at Sarasota Park multipurpose room. So again, bingo night's $10 per person, and so is the parent night out, $10 per
And how old are
child.
the children? It's 5 and up? Is that what it is? Parent night?
For the parent night, yes, it's 5 and older. That's right. And bingo night, it's children under 12 must be accompanied by an adult. So all that stuff can be found in our recreation activity guide too.
And on our
And we'll have it on our webpage, we have it on our Facebook page, And you can hopefully Facebook your friends to come to our bingo night. We're hoping for a good turnout. And we actually have 2 more scheduled. One, the next one will be March 7th, and then there'll be another bingo night April 4th. So.
Have you done bingo before?
No, we have not. Not since I've been there. So for at least the last 12 years, we haven't had a bingo night. So this will. Well,
I mean, there was a bingo.
anxious. We're anxious to see what.
Yeah, there was a bingo hall where we used to live, and I'll tell you, I mean, it was weekly. It was one of the best money makers for the band parents. We would volunteer. Well, we work it, and then we get proceeds
Right.
from it. And I mean,
I
we
love-
made
that's a great
thousands
model.
of dollars.
I
off-
think the American
off bingo.
Legion used to do it. They still got their deal up there for the numbers and everything out there.
Many years ago, Nordoff did it for a while I was there. They had,
Popular?
yeah, they did it as a fundraiser. They took
Oh,
over
there
the
were-
whole
there were
cafeteria
hundreds
and
of
would
people
run it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could get,
Well, like anything, if it's
Popular.
it's driven by numbers. If at some point it must have become unpopular because otherwise it'd still be going on. So
Did they
we're
ever
hoping
do it
to
before,
breathe
though?
new life into it
you
and
go.
excite the public to come to bingo night because it is fun. I know we play it a lot in summer camp, and I'm sure people still play it at home. But we'd like
Are you
them to
selling
come out.
supplies? Daubers and things? Or are you just providing?
No, we have these really cool boards actually they're sliders. You just slide it over the
Dauber?
that's
number.
even better.
No, I know, no dauber, but they're just as cool as
Oh, no,
daubers. And again,
That's
we'll be
fun.
serving up popcorn throughout the night, and
Good.
we've got some cool prizes. And as I said, we're also giving gift certificates for recreation activities too.
Sounds like fun.
I have
Yeah,
friends
it
in
will be.
Seattle, they go to it all the time, and they like dress up, but there's drinks, so it's a little bit more.
Yeah, they won't.
It's not at the park and rec, but
You know, one of
super
the,
fun.
one of the challenges for us as a government entity, and I guess this is true for other things, is you have to make sure that you're not creating something where it actually meets the definition of gambling. So you can't collect money and then put that into a prize pool, and then distribute that out. You can give prizes and things like that. But again, it's you got to have
Fine, yeah.
a separation there so that you're not collecting money from one person and giving it to somebody else. So
That
we'll
makes
get in trouble with the district
Non-
attorney if we do that.
Yeah.
Non-cash,
Prizes,
Prizes.
that's correct, yep.
that's what they'll be.
Okay.
And then I sent, there's another little hand out there with just some photos of our senior weightlifting program.
Oh, I love that.
That senior
That's
weightlifting strength training group, I'll call it, instead of weightlifting, strength training group. They meet every Tuesday, Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. And this photo was taken today. They're doing a truck push. So they do a lot of, I guess you would call unorthodox training
like that.
methods, and that's one of them.
It's too bad everyone can't see it. but-
Yeah, there's about eight participants in that.
Regulars, that's great.
Regulars in that.
And are
that
some of them
program
coming
that
from the
come.
Gables and different places, or?
Yeah, we have one or two from St. Joseph's
Nice.
Convalescent, but a lot of them actually just come on their own, just show up.
That's great.
Bike ride over, and really a nice program Gary started.
You sure they're just not push starting that truck?
Yeah. We're trying to get a new truck.
You know, Soph, you might
Yeah.
want to take these and put it in some of the mobile home parks.
Well, we've brought them to a few strategic locations throughout town where maybe some of our older population congregate, so.
They'd love that, you know, and they find out it's back in operation.
Yeah, we're hoping, again, once again, it is all about marketing too, so I plan on
Right.
hitting my Facebook page. If you have a Facebook page, go ahead and post it on there for us and get the word out. I know it's the day after tomorrow, but we can make it happen. We talked about gymnastics earlier, so this is their competition season, and so, which starts in January. So, in January, early January, they brought 8 girls out to Van Nuys for a competition. They've been to Camarillo. They just this last weekend, they went to San Diego. 7 girls traveled out to San Diego to compete, and they compete we range from level 3 to level 8. And to kind of put it in perspective, level 10 is Olympic level. So we have a couple of girls that are at level 8, one that actually qualified for the state meet. I'm not quite sure where the state meet is being held this year. And this weekend, they have 8 girls traveling to Ontario. So we have again, a small town, small program where girls just practice 6 hours a week. They've been, Vicky gave me a very detailed summary of all the places that the girls came in and, you know, how they placed in each competition. But for the minimum amount of time they practice each week, they represent well in these competitions. So
You post all the placements and everything on Facebook and the website? Nice to.
I'm not sure if we're doing that detailed of stuff, but we should.
It's something I've always, when we've done the skate contest, and I need to remind myself to put that out there, because kids want to know, or they left early, or they just want to root for their, for the kids, and it's nice to see.
It's a great
Acknowledged,
suggestion.
so.
Yeah, we really need to put more photos on there, and the girls that get their first and second place, I imagine they get some sort of ribbon or reward
Yeah.
that we should
It'd be
put,
nice to share that.
photos and places on our Facebook page and website. Absolutely.
Good idea.
I'll bring it back with that suggestion. That's it really on the programming updates. You'll hear a lot of good news once we get to the next topic, is the mid-year budget review. And that's where I think I'm hoping that you've got all the right handouts there. So what you should see, we'll start with revenue, is you should have the orange colored. I see you don't have fiscal year 13-14. So you should have 2 fiscal years. You should have 7/1/13 to 12/31/13.
You probably supposed to.
That's in orange. The orange ones are the revenue. So you should have one that says 7/1/13 to 12/31/13, and you should have another one that says 7/1/14 to 12/31/14.
I think,
I have some extra orange.
I have 2 of the yellow.
I have 2.
You
I got
should
an
have
extra
2 yellow
13.
and
Does
you should
anybody
have
have-
2 yellow and 2 orange.
oh, okay, I need
So you need a 7. It looks like
I
you
have
need
2
a
identical
7.
ones.
13.
Anybody want to trade a?
Yeah, why don't you just trade around?
13 for 14.
I have 2 identical ones
there.
too.
Deal.
How about yellow?
You need it looks like you probably need another 12.
The yellow, yeah.
Okay.
I've got 14, looking for
13 of
13.
each, yeah.
I have 13, looking for 14.
Oh, well, there you go.
All right, just then pass that down.
Yeah, I need.
Thank you.
Oh, no, that's 14. You said we needed 2.
You do.
13.
Okay.
I have that one, I need the 13.
All right.
He needs a 13 also.
No.
Okay,
No.
are we good?
We're there to,
I think we're there.
Thank
I'll
you.
explain.
All right,
that
so
tomorrow.
let's go to revenue. This is how bingo night's gonna go,
That's
I have a feeling. All right, so if you look at revenue numbers, and let's just jump to the best of it. So on fiscal year, we're talking July 1st to December 31st. If you look at the totals there, last fiscal year, it was 215,428. Are we all together on that? And now if you go to July, in this fiscal year, July 1st, 2014 to December 31st, 2014. If you look at that bottom line number year to date, it's about the 5th column over, you'll see 271,397. So mid-year, last fiscal year, we were at 215,428. This fiscal year, mid-year, we're at 271,397, which is a difference of So we are 56,000 ahead in revenue compared to last fiscal year.
At the end of
At this
December.
time.
At the end of December, right.
At the end of December. So you might ask, what is, why such a spike in revenue? And the answer is, if you I won't go through each one line by line, but I'll tell you softball is up 6,000. If you go side by side and compare those two, right at the top one, you see adult softball. Last fiscal year at this time, we were 2832. This fiscal year, we're at almost 9,000. So there's a 6,000 bump there. CrossFit is up 5,000. Aquatics is up 3,000 compared, we had a better summer.
So a question came up recently when we were sharing this with the staff, and they said, well, why are we doing so well? What's driving this? And of course, I thought, I tried to give credit to Softclees and I, but nobody was buying that. But on a serious note, I actually thought about it, and I actually think there's a really good answer for this. And I think probably the biggest reason that we can point to our continued growth and success has been the marketing efforts. And I think a lot of that, we heard what the commission was saying and the public was saying, and we heard that, and Softclees and Allison and the rest of the staff, I think, have really taken that to heart. And I think, between the Facebook page and the other things that we've done, the direct mail postcard, it's hard to gauge a marketing effort, especially over a short period of time, but hopefully you do these things and you track your numbers and you hope that it's starting to bring more people in. So I really think that that's probably one of the biggest factors. Again, obviously the economy always has an impact, and we're not going to be naive about that. Certainly, the downturn, hurt our programs, and there were other factors as well. But I really think in terms of maybe why we've had the success that we've done the last couple of years, I really think we can point to the marketing efforts and say that it has really exposed us to additional people, brought new people in that had not been there before, and then just making the folks who have been supporters of our department just a little better aware of what we've got and what we have for offerings.
I think you've also offered new
And
things.
and we have too. I was just gonna say.
Gone out, and I
Yep.
think it's keeping it fresh, and you keep
Yeah.
people, and that with the marketing is engaging in a different way. Before that, things had been a little level. There hadn't been a lot of new stuff introduced. I know not everything's been successful, but I think that the fact that there is new opportunities coming all the time is
Sure,
really nice.
and I don't want to put all the eggs in the marketing
Yeah.
basket either, because you're right. We've had
Well,
some
those two things
great,
go
we've had some
together.
great new programs, and some of that has been self-generated, and other that has been people who have come to us, which again I think is a good factor. They're saying, hey, this is a place where we can start a program and be successful. And of course, there's been a lot of things that have. Along the way that I think have helped. I think it's helped freshen up the facilities, and I think as we continue to do that, it would also help the programs too. So.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. New programming, in particular, CrossFit, our wilderness, that outdoor program is very popular. We added yoga, Zumba added a couple more days, and these kind of, while by themselves, they're not bringing in huge amounts of dollars, but that kind of push forward is what is pushing the number up. And so if we continue on this line of revenue, which I don't see, at least to the end of the fiscal year, why we wouldn't, as you may or may not recall, we finished at 430. Then potentially we might finish at 480 at the end of the fiscal year. So very encouraging numbers.
Good job.
Yeah, and then if we look at just briefly expenditure, which I always try to breeze through much quicker than revenue for some reason, there isn't that much of a difference between 13, 14. So again, we can go to bottom line numbers, and sorry for the copying, there's a big line through some of these copies. But if you look at again,
Clean your screen.
expenditure on July 1st, 13 through December 31st, 13, we were at 65,000, almost 66. And then if you look at expenditure for 14 through mid-year, it's 80,000. So we're up 15,000 in expense, but we're also up again 56,000 in revenue.
And just to remind the commission, the way the budget is structured, if we see an increase in revenues through programs, it's also going to drive up some of our expenses. So that's the reason for that. It's not that we're blowing past our budgeted line items or going hog wild or anything like that, but it means more money's coming in, which means we're also paying more money out for programs and for contractors, that type
Yeah,
of thing.
mostly contractor
Right.
payments.
and
Does everyone have because I have a couple of extra fiscal year 13s here, mid-year
I need a
13.
13.
You need a 13.
Orange or yellow?
Orange.
Pass.
I need orange.
You need yellow is,
Okay.
yellow is
I'm
expense.
yellow, I'm good. The yellow one.
Yeah.
I could use that.
We're just missing an orange.
Okay,
It's okay. I have a quick, I just
I'll
wanted to
send
make,
you an-
I just wanted to know
these
something.
to us.
I'll
It's probably easier
I can
anyway.
email them to
Yeah.
you if you'd like.
I would like that.
I just wanted to
I
note
will.
that drop-in sports is up significantly, and again, that points to the marketing. Which one? The drop-in? I think the drop-in sports, I mean, the marketing, I think, helps those kinds, and
Oh, yeah.
that's a pretty significant difference. I'm sorry, I went back to revenues, because I like
That's
the
all.
revenue
Look at-
side.
Yeah.
But, yeah, sorry.
That's
But
one
but that's
soft
another
sign.
really good sign. Okay, here you go.
Thank
Now
you
you've got
very
a
much.
complete set.
Now I can see it.
I think it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Drop-in's up at this point considerably over last year.
It is.
So if there's, so we give this to you, again, as a mid, a check on where we are mid-year, and so ask you, take a look at those. If you have any specific questions, feel free to send those to Mr. Casas or myself, or raise it at the next meeting. We don't expect you to be able to absorb all this information right now, but you've got it, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I'd love this emailed to me.
I can email it to all of you. I will.
Great.
Okay, this is just a refresher for me, though.
Yes.
When we're looking at expenses, we are not looking at staffing, we're just looking at other expenses having to do with that.
Those.
Staff time in there? or-
Oh,
I'm sorry,
No.
it's okay.
No.
Answer me
It's
later in
all right.
email.
Staff time
It's okay,
is-
It's not
No,
in
I
there.
can
No, we
tell
know
you.
the
Answer me later in
answer.
email.
We just have to think.
I can, no,
it's all right.
I can give you the quick answer.
I just need I just to wrap my head around it, I always have to get back on fund, other fund, and
No.
what we're looking at right now.
What I gave you is on the revenue side, this is what the programs bring in.
Right.
This is direct expense cost for those
Other than
programs.
staff.
Excluding staff,
Okay,
right. It
thank you.
does not include staff
Okay,
Right.
costs.
Do you have that
Yep.
number?
Not here tonight.
That's a
but
whole
you-
other fund to run.
It is it is a whole another report to run. It's a little more, and that's a little more complicated
In
and
multiple
complex.
funds.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, because there's 1502, which is administrative, and 1503, which is program specific. So,
Yeah, and most of those are, and we're happy to bring you that information.
They're
Those are
stable ones.
fairly, fixed, stable, however you want to describe it. Certainly there's variation and needs change, but we pretty much try to plan for those and live within them as the year goes on. And so that's why we focus mainly on the 1503 on the
Thank you.
programming side of
Sorry.
it. Yeah, no, it's a good
okay.
question.
It's
a good question.
Yeah, but you won't see any
So
differentiation on, much difference on staffing costs.
This from last year to this year.
From last
yeah.
year to this
Correct.
year, it'll be similar.
I just had a thought. When we pass out this type of information during the meetings, do we post any of this information for like,
You mean on the
trans-
web?
yeah, on the
Or here
website?
available?
So
We
when
can.
people could follow through, like for full transparency, like if we're talking about it, if somebody was at home and they wanted to
Sure.
be able to see what we're seeing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, I think it would be kind of,
We
I agree.
Good thing to put
but
up.
Is that something
you could put your photos.
be
up
okay
there.
to
People could
Yeah.
be looking at what we're
Alice, you
looking
could
at.
probably do it from, on your webpage. Well, I mean, I guess all the
You
other
could have a
documents
just
are.
little, you could just have like on your webpage, you could just
Just a
have
page,
a
yeah.
page that people could go to that has your.
Financial.
Rec commission.
Yeah,
Yeah,
recognition, commission.
we're happy to do that. It's somewhat difficult for people to maybe understand and interpret it, but but that's fine. They
But I
can,
think
they
if we're
can,
discussing it,
uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, we might put it more of a,
Why don't
when
you
we
do it-
get to the tracking report, more of a clearer, easier to follow cheat sheet like this.
Why don't you just put it in a little summation of the, whenever you do, don't you do
Weekly report.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could put something in there, just explain it a little bit, and I don't think I don't think people would be looking at this directly, but if we
Sure,
had
but
some,
that,
if we
okay.
had some sort of explanation, you know, and to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what programs are up, and,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this is, you know, anybody that wants this, we're happy to
Yeah.
provide it to them. It's public record, so,
I'm just thinking for things that I've been interested in, it'd be so nice to just click, there it is, or I don't have to go down to City Hall and get a copy, and, I mean, get away from paper and
sure.
just, it's just info, shared info, just a thought.
Sure.
Well,
we'll
how
come up with-
cumbersome would it be to put on the agenda? Isn't the agenda on the city?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, or maybe it's a
This
part
is,
of that.
this,
Yeah.
what we were given is, anybody
Is-
can go into the, to
That's
the
correct.
cities.
That's
Doesn't
correct.
matter.
Can we get this, like,
That's a better place.
maybe before our meeting
Sure.
in the
So that
future?
it's posted is what,
Yeah.
so it's
Well,
posted.
then it
So
would
it's
be, yeah,
posted.
then whatever's posted on the agenda
Yeah,
would be the same that we.
that way we can also take time to look at it before.
Sure. Yeah, we just ran out of time this
Yeah,
this
and
time around.
Well, yeah, just, it's great you're bringing this, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so.
You know, and as we talked about, you can always bring it to topic in the next meeting, or at our next meeting, or again, any questions between now and then, email
But
Steve. or
I'll go
myself.
ahead and put it up on the commission homepage where people access the, and we can talk about on the rec side as well, because that's right now where people would go
Yeah.
to get the agenda. So I'll just go ahead and put that on there as a supplement report that was handed out at the meeting, and that way anybody from the public who's curious will be able to access that.
Thank you.
Sure.
We can do that.
Bike park update.
So, we're still looking to get meetings set up with the potential stakeholders on this, so not as much progress in the last month as I was hoping to get to. I'm not gonna sit here and make excuses, it's just been a very busy month, so, but we will be getting those set up soon, and we'll give you an update at the next meeting, and hopefully at that point, we'll certainly have them scheduled, and hopefully we'll have had most of those meetings, or if not all of them, over the next month, so that's where we're at with that. Happy to answer any questions.
That's good. I'm excited that they're still
Yeah.
working on it.
Yep, so, like I said, sorry I haven't been able to move faster on that over the last few weeks here, but we will.
Okay, before I get to the participant tracking report, which you've received in previous, numbers have just changed or through time, obviously. But I noticed Commissioner Intner, or Vice Chair, I should say now, was checking out this CPRS report that I handed out to you. It's just mostly informational. This is the California Park and Rec Society
Thank you.
handout that, just to show that we are members, or a couple of the staff are members of this CPRS, and obviously they advocate for certain legislature that benefits parks. So it's just, again, something that's gone through 2013-14 legislative process, and something for you to look at and see the progress and advancements that
July is
parks have made.
Parks Makes Life Better Month.
It is.
In July.
Well, let's remember
Put that
that
on our
when
calendar.
July rolls around. We celebrate that all year long.
That's
but-
right.
Yeah, what month is our open house?
That's
Oh.
exactly what I was thinking.
Hey.
Yeah, well, we aren't,
Okay.
Usually May, right?
it is,
Summer.
it is,
Yeah, you
our
want to do that
open
in
house is in May. It's on the front of our activity
it's
guide,
not
actually. So it'll be May 16th. So mark your calendar for that. We will be bringing
Be
it
there.
up, since you brought it up now, we'll bring it up again at the next Park and Rec Commission meeting and every meeting leading up to it.
Well, and if you want help, we could form an ad hoc committee again.
Well,
Yeah, it's
that would
about
be
that time.
great. We,
I mean, it is really that time. 'cause
Yeah,
May-
it
May
is.
seems to come just so quickly.
Be here fast.
I have put it on our next,
For March.
staff, our own staff meeting, which we meet, every month too, and our monthly meeting is, this Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, yeah. And we have it on our agenda to discuss the open house.
Okay, well, so maybe if,
Yeah, but
I know March is super
it's,
full, but if we want on the
May-
agenda
May
to form our
16th.
committee in March, our ad hoc committee, whoever,
I think we
so
would.
Uh,
put
it-
us to work, yes.
Well, it would be nice, especially, the more time intensive
yeah.
things like getting, donations for raffle or
Oh, yeah.
things like that.
You could start on
Oh,
that.
yeah, let me work on that.
Yeah, I think the more of those things we bring in and advertise, the more people will come. And we're gonna talk about teen and middle school programming, and one of the things are, I think that attract teens are food. So, and how we can work that into our programming, but, we'll go back, now we'll go to the participant tracking report. It's, I think, pretty self-explanatory, the numbers that you see, and they're pretty consistent too with the Tai Chi, bringing in a nice size. He's always had a great following, and he's very consistent. See basketball, drop-in basketball is consistent. These are all, our drop-in programs that you're viewing here, including CrossFit. CrossFit, of course, has a monthly membership, but the numbers you see for CrossFit are also drop-in numbers. People that come in and just pay the daily fee of, drop-in fee of $10. So they can pay $10 for just one visit or $100 for the month. And then what we didn't have on there last time, and we still don't have on there, but I do have numbers for you, are aquatics. So we had a total of drop-in wise, this is group, people coming in as groups, and the total number is and people who had passes. So anyone that came through the gate in the summer, if they had a family pass, they were with a group like Holy Cross School. We had a total of 1,369 people, which came out to about 45 people a day coming to public swim.
That's great.
And again, that number doesn't include people in swim lessons, just
Great.
public swim, 45 people a day.
And how many
need
passes,
a pool?
I know we didn't ask you this, how many do you think
Oh.
we've sold? It's okay if you don't.
I would say 75, if I was guessing, family
Okay.
passes, and probably about
Approximately,
15 individual. You could buy a family pass or an individual pass. I think it was like 75, 15.
It's a great deal for a family.
Can we
It
add
is a
can we
great
add a
deal.
pool to our capital wish list
You can.
You
Go
can,
for years down the road at least?
you can, yep.
We
We
can
can
do
certainly
that.
talk about that.
If you plan for it, it
That
will
made me think of
happen.
something I
Exactly.
forgot.
All right.
I really would like to see a water element in Libby. Not a pool per se, but look at the cost and the
Yes.
feasibility of just water coming out of the ground to get wet. We looked, probably, was it 5 or 6 years ago when we were talking about Libby in that area, and the commission at that time wanted to look into it, and I don't think we ever got farther than that, so.
I would like to see a pool, but I will, baby steps on a water element at least,
Water somewhere?
Exactly.
Or even if let's put pool on there, a community pool, and then obviously have time to, there's groups out there
Yeah,
that
it's
would
certainly
like to work
not
on
something
that.
that's even,
Yeah.
remotely on
I
this
mean,
list, but it would
We
be
Yeah.
always
nice
hear the
to.
why we can't do it, I want
Right.
to hear the how we can.
Exactly.
So I'd like to form that committee.
Yeah, you could
Yes.
spend a lot of time here talking
I will
about the
jump
why
on
we
that committee
can't,
as
so
well.
we
I'm
won't, we
tired of
won't
hearing
bother
the why
with
we
that.
can't.
Right.
I think let's get this
The
done.
Parks District doesn't
Yes.
quite fit on the capital improvements plan,
Yeah.
maybe it does.
I
Yeah,
know
that's-
there's a large group of people in the community that would like a community pool, and I know that obviously water is an issue and things like that, but there's a lot of cities that have pools and have
The-
solutions.
The
so-
challenge, I'm not saying it's a can't be, is the maintenance costs. That is the challenge with the community pool.
I feel like
Doesn't mean you
there's
can't
always an
do it,
answer. There's always some
but-
way to,
but so coming up with how you fund that is the question.
And I think that's where the Parks
Right.
District comes in.
yeah.
Right.
So
That,
we could put it on there. It's a good, really good conversation. We should talk about
agree.
that.
So I hear the water element for sure. Do
Yeah.
we want to put the pool on at this point, or have
It's
some more
aspirational.
discussion,
Yeah, I
or?
think we should put it on there.
Okay,
See what happens.
okay, all right.
I mean, that could be 5 years from now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
It at least opens up the discussion again.
what, if we could take 14 years to build a skate park? 14 years. Yeah.
she goes 5, I go, oh.
Excellent.
But I want to start a
Yeah,
new
bitches, I like
tradition where it
that.
doesn't take people
Right.
14 years to build something. that-
So I would make a question/statement regarding the pool, because it's pretty open-ended. With these other items, it's pretty easy for us to come back with with an idea of what it's going to cost. For a pool, I don't know that we're really at that point yet.
Is there ever a way to see,
I mean,
what actually, it would be interesting.
What I'm trying to
Right
get
now.
directly at is I don't want to spend, it would take a lot of staff time to go in to try to come up with, what it would cost to do a community pool. Because, first off, right there, there's a lot of variables,
Yeah.
right? So, again, I'm not trying to throw a wet blanket on this in any way, shape, or form, but just I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. We're happy to put that on the list, but I don't know that we could really come forward at the next meeting and have a price tag that would be associated
So
with
what would
that.
be- what
So I
would
think
be
there
the
needs to be
answer?
some more discussion
Yeah.
on
What would-
that, so.
What would be a
so-
way to move forward with that conversation? I realize we can't, we're not gonna get a pool next year, but.
Well,
People that, like the bike park and the skate community that worked on, those facilities and trying to work on the bike park. There is a group of people in Ojai that would happily start that, but I think it is that beginning, how much does it cost? Not-
Right.
And I don't wanna take up staff's time, but is that something someone would do on their own, maybe, research?
Well, they
If
could.
there was a group,
they could, I'm just saying that would be a very extensive task to even start working on that. I'm not saying, but I think from our perspective, we would need some approval from, council, city manager, if we were to
even-
put, just to, because there's a lot of work to put.
Yeah.
Like, again, don't misunderstand me, more than happy to put it on the list, and I think
Well,
that's,
I don't even think with what you just heard, you have enough parameters to even
Right.
do the
Yeah.
research.
that's what yeah.
I
So
definitely-
there's a lot of questions there that I think you'd have to start engaging the community in terms of, what do you want to see? How would you want to fund it? How could you do it? Where, what, those types of things.
maybe we can do that with the Sarasota plan, maybe that will come up,
Out of
I
your
don't think
public
there's room to
involvement.
have a pool over there, but with the public comments, I'm sure that would come up that, how it was in the master plan at
Right.
Libby originally.
Well, I think like a lot of things, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
But
You
if we
gotta
put
start-
it on the list, right, we could start at
Yes.
least getting community feedback. and-
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess I wanna, yeah, exactly.
We will put it on the
Except
list.
For costs, you're just looking
Yeah.
for it to be on the list.
Just to
Definitely.
put it on the list, it'll happen.
Understood.
Just kidding.
Like I said, I just didn't want to walk in here at the March meeting and go,
No,
well,
no.
where's
Where's my
the
pool?"
estimate for this? Well,
No, I know, there's so many reasons that it couldn't happen, but maybe we'll give some hope and maybe there's.
yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Right.
so.
We will put that on the
But I
list.
definitely don't want you to waste your time with that.
And also the water element too, and that should be a little easier to try to at least come up with some type of
It's called
a
the
budget.
Pacific View
So,
Mall.
That's right.
how much does it cost for a sprinkler? Clear hand in the hose.
Actually, we brought summer campers out twice too, and I don't have the location. It's in Thousand Oaks. Brand new,
Oh, an outdoor.
beautiful outdoor water element. That we went to a place that's an indoor playground called Bright Child, and less than a mile away from that facility. And again, I'll give you the location if you. It probably isn't running right now in the off season, but in the summer, it's an amazing outdoor water element park. The kids had a great time in it.
Is
and
it part of the
I-
recreation?
Yeah.
It's in I don't think it's part of the recreation, it's just in some, it's open to the public.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
don't have, again,
it's part of a
I'm sorry, I
development.
don't have the name of it right now, but as you drive in, there's this cool duck pond, and you move in a little further, there's just a lot of open space, a big playground, and then there's this amazing hidden, to me, it was really hidden, but kind of a little outdoor water park. I mean, it's not a park, it doesn't have slides or anything, it just has
The
these
water feature.
big, 3 or 4 water features. A bucket fills up, a little sort of a mini,
Like
not
a series.
hurricane harbor where the bucket fills up and it pours out. It's really well done. I may even have photos, so I'll make a point to email that out to you and tell you where that location is.
Well, it might be interesting, I don't know, I mean, I think you usually do it, sending out requests to other members of the,
CPRS, this blogging
I want to say the
CPRS.
JPIA, but that's not the right one.
No, that's what
Okay,
you have
yes,
there,
the-
California Park and Rec
'Cause we've
Society.
had pretty good luck getting, I'm amazed how many people post back information when you request it, when we've had other.
They do.
It's very
You know,
nice.
if we had, inquiry about how, do you have a water element at your park?
Yeah.
How much did it cost? What's the
Might be
annual
just interesting to
what's the
run.
annual maintenance
Mhm.
on it?
Yeah.
We'd certainly get quick feedback on that, if that's something you
mean, we
want to
have-
see in our park.
And speaking of the pool, I mean, we have Carpinteria and very small community, similar to ours with a great pool.
Do they share those with the high school?
Mm-hmm.
They do. And Santa
That could
Clarita
be-
has an amazing aquatics complex
I've
as
always
well.
thought Nordhoff needs a new pool. We could do a little share.
They do.
So bad.
But-
They'd happily take one if we paid for it.
Of course they would.
But they won't. Okay.
And that may be part of the discussion, is there some way
Yeah,
to,
that's what I mean,
kind of
is-
combine forces here and
There's some
maybe address it that
solutions out
way?
there, somewhere out
Right.
there. But thank you. I think you had
That's
one
it
more.
on the participant tracking. It's, we thank Villanova, actually. That's the pool we use in the summer. It's a great facility.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful spot.
Just to follow up on your participation tracking, we're now moving into our second year of complete results. So we actually have it's pretty thin statistics here, but we are actually able to compare now quarter to quarter,
Oh, nice.
which is nice. We're seeing a 16% increase from the October-December 2013 quarter to what we saw in 2014. So we'll continue to track these and build to that, and hopefully it'll be a way for us to better assess what we're doing.
We'll talk about teen middle school programming.
Sure. We
Unless,
don't
did
have
anyone have any other
no.
discussion about the?
No, we have that on our agenda for that Wednesday staff meeting that's coming up. But we certainly could take input from you as to specifically what you'd like to see. I know dances, for sure, is
Bring
an
back the
easy,
dances.
shouldn't say an easy, but one of the more obvious things that we've heard several times that people would like to see back at the rec department. So we will be revisiting dances at our
Great.
staff meeting to see, the overhead costs there was really on the DJ. It's less necessary to have a DJ now for dances, so we could reduce the cost there. And, we'll definitely take a strong, hard look at bringing dances back
Be a
to
great
Sarasota.
post. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Will you be going to the schools itself and talking to these kids, or is that the way you have it, or?
Not
We're not that
necessarily.
far along yet, but that's
That's
good.
not something we.
We hadn't contemplated that,
planned,
really, but,
insofar as saying, hey, we're gonna have dances again.
No.
or
What do
just
they want?
What do they
Yeah.
want?
You could have.
we hadn't gotten that far along, quite honestly, so we can look to do that.
Because they may come back and say something
Well, sure.
entirely different than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You could even go like at lunch
Right.
at Matilaha and have a big thing. Kids just could write on there what they'd like to see or something.
Could we do a
Yeah.
Facebook poll or something, too?
Possibly, or, a couple of the
you'll
survey
get more
at
parents.
Matilaha, a little checklist, but we need something to start with, well, as you described, well, maybe you just put up a board and let people just jot down ideas.
Could we put a flyer out to the schools, too?
Well, could you work with the physical fitness departments partially?
I don't know.
I
Or
mean,
the
reach out
counselors.
to them and see, because they have, every kid usually is in, less this year than before, never mind.
That'd prob-
They've changed the way they're
Like,
running.
we have a
some of that,
youth-
but-
That'd be smarter to do, I think, going to like PE
Is
or something.
everybody-
Everybody's
everybody's
there.
there,
If there's a board, people don't want to like go up.
It's
and-
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, the Facebook poll, I mean, I like that idea. That'd probably be good. Everybody uses well, all the kids in the high school use
Yeah.
Facebook. And
Yeah,
We
well,
also have a leadership
hopefully they're
class.
on our,
that,
I think a leadership
I
class
believe
as
they
well.
do, and that might be another group to go.
To
reach out to
reach out to
the
them to
leadership
help.
at Matilaha
help
and even,
students. Mhm.
even at Nordhoff, yeah.
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 The PE, I'm not familiar with it at Nordhoff, but Matilaha, that'd be great. Probably at Nordhoff too, I'd assume. You know.
And to the private schools, I don't know if there's. a big-
Catch me up in the 21st century. Are the schools not doing dances anymore?
They do.
Yeah, I mean, at my
Not
school.
a lot,
yeah.
but they do.
Not-
Oh,
Not
they
like
used
that.
to do years ago, and this is why it's coming up, because people who've been here, I mean, when I was a kid, they had dances. It was kind of a rec department thing that they did for years. And
Wendy
then
would
I don't know when
decorate.
it fell off. Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was,
It was very regular.
it was,
For a long
I
time.
remember when I was in middle school, we went, yeah, it was, every couple weeks, the rec department was having a dance.
It was something to do on a Friday night. I
Yeah.
remember dropping the kids off and then go pick them up as soon as it's done.
Yeah, I imagine Matilaha does
They don't do
more
that
of
many.
the holiday, maybe it's a
Maybe
a
two.
Valentine's Day coming up, maybe they're gonna do a Valentine's
Formals.
dance, I don't know. But, you know, you
And it
don't
was-
need an occasion necessarily to have a dance.
Yeah, and I don't think that
Or
so many people
special.
are actually dancing. I think it's the opportunity for all the kids to have a place to go and hang
Socialize.
out and
Yeah.
socialize.
Right.
And it's not fancy.
Yeah, and
It's-
it's just something to do in Ojai, I mean, on a Friday night or Saturday night, which is something we need.
An opportunity to gather somewhere where we know where they are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they would
And
be
all-
asking for,
they all
but.
they all had a good time. I mean, my kids did, so.
Yeah, again, as Mr. McCleary mentioned, it's a potential join forces
Mhm.
kind of thing, is those Matilaha students are Matilaha students that come to those dances, and there are our kids just as much, I suppose, but have them help us to promote our dances at the rec department. We'd be more than happy to host them.
I think the idea
Help
of
us
reaching out
promote
to the schools is great, and then I would also recommend maybe reaching out to some of the larger churches in the
That's a
valley.
great idea.
There's huge youth groups that meet. For instance, I know our church has a youth group that meets on Wednesdays, and they've got 50 to 70 kids all in at one time.
That's a good
That's
idea.
a great
And I know there's, a few of the larger churches in Ojai have some really large youth group nights,
And I
where you have their attention.
And wasn't there some partnership long ago between some of the churches with some of these activities?
There
I don't
was, for a little while, there was,
They were helping run them and.
yeah, coming to
providing some staffing and
Sarasota
everything.
Park, and they were, I'm sorry, I forget what, there was actual name for it
Yeah.
too, there was a.
Anyway, that might be another discussion to have
Right.
too,
Yeah.
to start that again.
It was a family night. It was something like that. It was it was over the summer, and we were doing family nights that were run by each, faction of the church group would sort of
Would host a
oversee
night.
it, would
Mhm.
host a night.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
And
but-
that might be possible with some of the dance stuff too.
Exactly.
And to really bring
Right.
in the community.
Mhm.
I think that sounds great.
And I
Lots of
think all the other
opportunities.
schools, because I know my kids were friends with kids from all the schools, not just the school they went to, so it was nice to come together, You
Mhm.
you went to Nordhoff, you saw your friends from Villanova and all the other places, so.
Well, lots of ideas.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got
Well,
lots of ideas.
You asked.
no, of course. Well, again, we want to see the rec department with activity and people, and that's how these numbers develop, is the more foot traffic we get over our way, the better.
So on to commissioner reports and comments. Do any of you have a report?
Nothing on my end.
Anyone?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I was at the school board retreat and planning session on the 31st. It was from 9 to 2. I stayed. The first part was working on their relationship between the board and the superintendent, but what they had on there that I was also interested in is they are looking at the school district property again. and just the larger use, a larger look at their facilities. It was just discussion only. They weren't making any decisions, but it was interesting. It's back on the table. There were some interesting speakers, who I thought were very good, and there was direction from that board to start engaging the city. So it doesn't, it doesn't relate to us directly, possibly, but I think Sunday was there, and you spoke.
Oh, no, I.
Oh, you didn't speak. Sorry, Wendy spoke about the skate park, just bringing that up, and just, that it's there and that it's, Anyway, so all I know is that things are developing. I know that my perception of that meeting was that their board is very interested, of engaging the city and trying to start working on these things. So I don't know where that'll go, but it was an interesting meeting. I stayed the whole time. If you have any questions, that's my report.
And I went as well, since we have a facility that's on that location. I was interested in finding out, we have a lease for the skate park till 2023, and just curious. And also as a citizen, that's 8 acres of property in the heart of Ojai that I'm just curious what's going to happen to it if it sells. So went to that, and then I also have been going to the city council meetings and giving them an update on what our commission's been doing. I'm always super nervous, but I think it's beneficial. I think I enjoy hearing what the other commissions are doing as well. I do watch all those on TV, so kind of one of those people, but I've been doing that, and then I have not been able to get into I did stop by to drop off the skate helmets that have been in the back of my truck since Ojai Day, but I didn't have time to hang out, so I still need to spend time in the office. And I visited the restrooms. That was exciting, but informative. So
today again, if you're going to come, afternoon time is the best. And today was a perfect example of kind of the full flow, the buzz of activity. We have basketball practices all through the afternoon. We had the Sandcastle music. 10 to noon, we had American Heart Association renting the facility from 1:30 to 3, and then at 3 we had from 3 to 4 we had ballet, and then from 4:30 to 6 we had piano, keyboarding and guitar.
Yeah.
So 10 a.m. I got here.
It's a long day for you.
Yeah, we had activity nonstop in that multipurpose room, and then adult kung fu at 7:30
Nice.
tonight. So in the same room. So if you come, make it an afternoon, any afternoon, especially now, this time of year.
anyone else have?
Did you see the page 1 of the local section, the Star, today?
No.
It's got
yeah.
Yeah, it's the big article on the proposed new playground at Libby.
Exciting.
It's got a picture of the old one, and they interview a few folks that are using it and looking forward to the new one.
I think it's gonna be a really great community project. It's gonna be nice. Anyone else? Did you? Okay, so thank you. Councilman Blatz is here to give a city council liaison report.
Nice to see everybody. Welcome, Adam. Nice to have you on board. And congratulations to the chair and the vice chair. I couldn't help but think Sunday that I thought back of that forum that we were at several years ago when I was running for city council, and Sunday had asked me a question, and
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
it went viral on YouTube shortly thereafter.
Yeah, there's a couple
And now
thousand
look,
hits now.
and it had to do with, the question was a very simple question, that there wasn't anything she thought for children to do it. Look, you're the chairman of the commission now.
Funny.
How about that? That's wonderful. I really don't have anything in particular, although I am really happy that we decided to go with that community project type playground. I think that that's going to be really nice, rather than getting one with its feet prefabricated. It's going to be designed and then built on site. So I think we're going to have some fun with that. Other than that, I don't have anything, except I'm telling you, couldn't be any more pleased about the way the Park and Recreations Department is running, or what it was a couple of years ago. And just think, you've got 2 of your own on the city council now.
I don't know.
So that's where the council people are coming from, I guess. Savaro and Randy, which is fabulous. They're both great to be on the council. Any questions of me for anything?
I think our project coming up with Libby is going to be very interesting too, because you literally get engaged through the commissions. Well, 4 if you're planning, because whoever gets it is looking for a component from the historic commission can help with that. The arts commission, hopefully, they will be active in trying to help out with the art element of it.
Yeah.
I think it's very exciting. I think we don't have that many opportunities for all the commissions to come together either on
Yeah.
a project, so.
Yeah, the commissions and the community. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the big part. I mean, it's going to be a community site. That's the beauty of it.
Very exciting.
Yeah, should be good. Should be good. Thank you for all your hard work. It doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you.
Coming tonight. The last one is future meeting dates and agenda items.
I think we gave him all of that.
Yeah.
Got it. I think I've got a good list for the next meeting. I think I got all that down. And like I said, it'll be probably a pretty busy meeting with Sarzati and hopefully the Libby Park RFP
Do you like these?
for your review and decision. So
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
thank you.
Adjourn the meeting.